In Slovenia, I was a catalog model, which is what you call a model you order out of a catalog. Sometimes when I bounce light off my diamond, Donald's hair will chase it like a cat.
After Bill Maher casually dropped Melania Trump's marriage secrets on live TV, Donald Trump went into full-blown tantrum mode Thanksgiving dinner at the White House, but with fewer pardoned turkeys and more broken phones. While Trump scrambled to do real-time damage control, Maher just kept swinging default text, turning every punchline into a public gut punch. This wasn't a jab, it was a full-scale truth bomb, and it landed right on the golden roof of Trump Tower. The Trump brand didn't just take a hit. It got bulldozed, gift-wrapped, and handed back with a fragile sticker.
Bomb.
I hope I inspire little girls everywhere to marry for money. Oh, that's...
I'm not just saying this lightly when Bill Maher dropped that line. It wasn't a coincidence, it was a detonation. With a straight face, he said it live, and the room instantly erupted, half in laughter, half in gasps. Beneath the jokes, though, came a slap to the Trump family dynamic, masked by the roar of the crowd. This wasn't just stand-up comedy, it was a surgical roast. Maher dissected the cold, mechanical way Trump and Melania interact, and he did it in front of millions. Trump didn't laugh, not even close. He allegedly went full red-face rage mode, ranting behind the scenes while his team scrambled to contain the meltdown. But the internet moves faster than any PR team. By the time they tried to plug the leak, the clip was already flooding Twitter and TikTok. Suddenly, everyone online had a PhD in Trump marriage analysis, and one burning question kept trending to the top. Is Melania truly the First Lady, or a hostage in high heels?
Really a dumb guy, fired like a dog. His show is dead.
Trump, on the other hand, wasn't chuckling. Reports say he was beyond frustrated, full-on red-faced, shouting behind closed doors and raged. His team scrambled to patch things up, but it was too late. The clip had already detonated online. Within hours, Twitter and TikTok turned into a 24/7 Trump marriage symposium. Suddenly, every armchair pundit had a doctorate in First Lady body language studies, and one question kept trending to the top. Is Melania truly the First Lady, or a hostage in high heels?
Okay, so meet up in person. Maybe it'll be different.
This wasn't your standard late-night zinger. Maher rolled in like a demolition crew with a mic, and the target wasn't just Trump, it was the entire marriage facade. At one point, he compared Trump to Slovenia's national dish, a bland, heavy plate nobody actually asks for, the kind you regret halfway through but keep chewing out of politeness. The metaphor was brutal, cold, flavorless, and just like their marriage, quietly depressing. Then Maher twisted the knife. He painted a picture of Melania's primary duty being to never answer when Trump says "I love you" unless she's been promised there will be no follow-up questions. He even pulled out a fake First Lady marriage guide, reading aloud steps like, Step 1, maintain a neutral expression. Step 2, blink only when signaled. Step 3, remember this is not love. This is a scripted contract with wardrobe changes. The subtext wasn't subtle. Maher was saying this wasn't a marriage, it was dinner theater with worse lighting.
My Secret Service codename is that poor woman.
Then came the most savage line of the night. Maher leaned in and said, deadpan, that poor woman, allegedly her Secret Service code name. The crowd roared, but there was a sting under the laughter. Maher wasn't just calling her a trophy wife. He was sketching the image of a glamorous inmate trapped inside it.
A fucking comedian, and he's the most powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader.
Just watch her in public, Maher said. The 4 smiles, the slow-motion hand holds. The little sidestep whenever he tries to touch her like she's dodging a drone strike. People had been speculating for years, but Maher stripped the mystery away. She's living in a gilded cage, the door always wide open, yet she never walks out. Then he dropped the weirdest, most brilliant metaphor of the night, comparing her to a leprechaun's wish gone wrong. You got the beauty, the fortune, the sparkle, he said, but in the actual game, you're powerless, you're just a glittering prisoner on display.
the check. If you don't want to say it out loud, you can mow it into the corn.
People want to believe in the fairy tale, the ex-supermodel, the billionaire, the red carpets, the luxury gowns. That's the fantasy package, but Maher took that airbrushed image and dragged it into the daylight. He didn't just crack a joke about the Trumps, he dismantled the brand. What he revealed wasn't just about one marriage. It was about how power hides rot under a layer of gold. Leaf, how stillness is sold as grace, how sadness gets rebranded as elegance. Maher's punchline wasn't aimed at Melania alone, it was aimed at the illusion itself. Because when your empire is built on smoke and mirrors, it only takes one perfectly timed joke to set the whole thing on fire.
Different insulting epithets that the president has said about me. Things like stupid, dummy, lowlife dummy, sleazebag, sick, sad, stone cold.
So when Bill Maher dropped that roast on live TV, Trump didn't just brush it off and go golfing. Behind closed doors, he detonated full meltdown mode. According to sources, he was pacing like a caged rhino, face the color of a MAGA hat, barking at anyone who wandered within 10 feet. And, of course, he sprinted straight to his therapy couch, Truth Social, where he could let the world know just how deeply a late-night comedian had wounded his presidential pride. Somewhere between the all-caps rage and random nicknames, you could almost hear the sound of his ego bleeding.
I don't want to have a Trump with this man. I mean, he's not even a real person. It's just like a pop reference.
In Trump's retelling, the new enemy of the state wasn't China, wasn't Russia, it was a guy with an HBO mic and a few sharp punchlines. He threw around phrases like traitorous humor and labeled Maher's set as wicked defamation, as if late-night jokes were now acts of espionage. You'd think Bill Maher had leaked nuclear codes instead of marriage material.
Melania Trump has spent just a few weeks here at the White House since her husband was inaugurated in January.
And Melania, a stone, not a sound, not a tweet, not even one of those cryptic Instagram stories with a half-lit glass of wine. And honestly, that might have been the loudest response of all, because when the whole internet is dragging your marriage through the mud and you stay silent, people notice. Maher's burns weren't scattered randomly, they were deployed like surgical strikes. You are not to respond. When I say I love you, he joked. That wasn't a punchline, that was a diagnosis. He wasn't describing a marriage, he was describing a customer service interaction. Then he added, if I say jump, you jump. One-way contract, no affection, no equality. Just one voice barking orders and the other calmly following them. And Maher delivered it with a smile, never raising his voice. He turned their relationship into a deadpan masterclass in emotional vacancy. What should have been romantic, like saying I love you, was reduced to the kind of formality you expect when closing a business deal. The crowd laughed, but there was a ripple of unease, as if they realized they weren't just laughing at the Trumps, they were laughing at something uncomfortably true. And then the internet remembered that jacket, I really don't care, do you? Came roaring back, only now it wasn't careless, it was tactical. A weaponized shrug, a deliberate diversion. Suddenly, people saw it as the perfect slogan for a woman trapped in a surreal soap opera, maintaining power the only way she could, by acting like she didn't care at all.
Melania Trump has been in the news a lot lately. I was talking about her in the monologue, and she's on the cover of Us Weekly with this cover at my side of the...
At that point, it wasn't just celebrity gossip anymore, it was a collision of political theater, stand-up comedy, and psychological suspense. The audience wasn't just watching, they were spectating. Is this marriage collapsing in real time? Is it a performance for the voters? Or are we all witnessing a very public, very expensive breakup play out on national television? Through it all, Bill Maher never flinched. No backtracking, no clarifications, he just let the chaos feed itself. Because Maher wasn't trying to be right in the moment, he was saying the thing no one else had the nerve to say. And for once, even Melania seemed to savor it, though, in her own way. Diamond hard, flash in the light, and shaded just enough to let you wonder if she was laughing with him or at him.
I hope I inspire little girls everywhere to marry for money. Oh, that's
the genius of Maher. He wasn't being unfair, he was being surgically honest. Ruthless, yes. Hilarious, absolutely. But precise. When he cracked the line about marrying for money, it wasn't some cheap, tabloid-level jab at Melania. It was a hit on the entire concept, the elitist fantasy that if you're beautiful enough, rich enough, or connected enough, you can fake the rest, that feelings are optional when you've got matching private jets and a prenup thick enough to stop a bullet. It wasn't just a joke about her, it was a scalpel slice into the American idea that wealth can paper over emptiness.
And if I could tell my younger self just one thing, it would be this. If you catch a leprechaun and he gives you one wish.
Following came the leprechaun metaphor. At first, it sounded absurd, but give it a beat, it stuck. Maher said Melania's life was like catching a leprechaun and making a wish, only to realize later you should have been much more specific. She got the palace, the diamonds, the glossy magazine spreads. But not the freedom, not the control. Not even tenderness that wasn't conditional. It was sorrow wrapped in Gucci. And Maher didn't stop there. Without even framing it as a question, he cut straight to the bone. What is a power couple anyway? To people ruling the world together, or one person doing all the talking while the other tries not to blink too loudly? He said what a lot of us have suspected watching those photo ops and state dinners. It's all choreography. A marriage staged like a PR campaign. And the response? Oh, it was louder than a 3 a.m. Trump tweet.
I think what people like about him, he's just direct. He's very direct and he just lands it. He says what he says and he does it.
Melania, meanwhile, chose not to play along. No rebuttal, no cryptic Instagram posts, just absence. And the more she stayed gone, the louder her silence became. It was like watching someone slowly back away from the spotlight while the person next to them kept trying to drag them back into it. Suddenly, this wasn't just a roast, it was a litmus test. For Trump, for Melania, for all of us, a test of how much of what we see is real and how much is pure packaging. This wasn't just about one marriage. It was about the rot in celebrity politics itself, where public image trumps real connection, where marriages are run through PR filters, and every awkward silence is photoshopped into a smile. And you start to wonder, was this the first crack in her veneer? Did Maher's joke start the unraveling? Because once the public sees the flaws, they don't go back to pretending. They start questioning the whole foundation, the Trump brand itself, built on control, wealth, and the illusion of mastery. Maher's answer was simple: no, you're just good at staging it. And that's the genius of it. He wasn't just telling jokes. He was delivering intel dressed as comedy. Every punchline doubled as a pressure point. People laughed, then caught themselves. Wait, was that funny or was that true? Trump's rage wasn't about being treated unfairly. It was about losing the one thing he guards more fiercely than anything else: control of the narrative. To him, that's not just oxygen, that's oxygen plated in gold.
And plaudits in equal measure. So where has the First Lady gone?
But Melania is the one who delivers the real curveball. Not with speeches or public spats, but with calculated absences, side-eye moments, and silence so deliberate it roars. It's the loudest she's ever been without saying a word. For the first time, people weren't just seeing a mannequin in a couture coat. They saw a woman with instincts, someone who could turn humor into armor, and maybe finally someone writing her own lines in a script that was never hers. So the question lingers, was Maher out of line, or was he just saying what everyone else had been whispering for years? Did he cross a boundary, or did he finally mark the boundary between illusion and reality? And what does that mean for the Trumps going forward? Is the marriage still intact? Is the brand? Or did Maher's roast expose a fracture too deep for Photoshop to smooth over? One thing is certain, this wasn't just a joke. It was a cultural moment, a mask-slipping, brand-shaking moment that people will study as much for what was said as for what was left unsaid.